Joey Logano to the inside of Denny Hamlin. That's the battle for the fifth spot as they come off turn 4.
Comes the Thunder now, working back through the track.
Hello YouTube and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. I'm Thermite917 and as always I'm here with my colleagues, my associates, my chums, my pals, my teammates, whatever you want to call them. They are Pro Bowl 43, Kane Jr. 88, and not DeMonte HD. This week we're going to discuss the Geico 500 and Sparks 300 from Talladega. And Tyler, I believe you might have been there on Sunday, so what did you see from your point of view?
Oh, yes, I was there, and I saw a little bit, not the greatest race in the world, but we will get to that in a moment. So Kevin Harvick started on the pole, the Geico 500, and yeah, they really didn't do much in stage one. It was the weirdest thing, though, because it was such a split strategy. Part of the field decided, okay, we're going to pit on like lap 13, and then part didn't, and then they had like a lot of breakaways. Like it just seemed like at times there were 3 separate packs and then a couple small packs, and then Reed Sorensen and Timmy Hill were a cute little couple there. I didn't know what they were doing. They drafted for like 20 minutes. Like Alex Bowman led for a little while, and then they pit later in the stage. I don't really know what their game was there. Everything kind of cycled around. Next thing you know, Brad Keselowski's in the lead. There's a little cute Ford line. Kurt Busch actually led the way, but he was trying to stay on the lead lap, and that's how it finished. Literally only one thing happened in that stage, and there was a cute little battle for the lead lap between David Reagan and Brendan Gaughan. They swapped it a couple times, and David Reagan got the free pass. Getting into stage 2, they finally had a little bit of an incident. First caution for something, other than a stage. And there was a small little accident after Eric Jones hits the apron, comes up the racetrack, whacks into Jamie McMurray, whacks into Trevor Bayne, and Kyle Larson was also involved, as well as Martin Truex Jr. Kyle Larson, Eric Jones, Trevor Bayne were all out as a result, and McMurray and Truex were pretty much hammered for the rest of the day, especially McMurray, who made multiple pit stops after that and just was in the way. They got back going. They didn't have a single caution for the rest of that stage, but at least this time there was no split strategy or anything. Everybody could make it. Still, there was a little bit of a Ford train at the front, but Paul Menard, man, he worked his way to the front and ended up getting the win. That was pretty cool to see. Stage 3 got underway, and there was a couple little cautions, 2 kind of quickies in the middle of that. One for debris on the front stretch. That was a random one that came out of nowhere. Never even saw the debris get picked up. Maybe I just wasn't looking. The next one was a caution for Timmy Hill after his engine expired. Massive plume of smoke. They got back underway after that caution. They ran real tough for about 15 laps. And then finally, the inevitable, the big one. Several heavy hitters involved, including Brad Keselowski, the stage 1 winner, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. Jimmy Johnson was basically the one that got tagged by William Byron, and William Byron was another one that was out of the race. Just caused that huge calamity and basically just made everybody scared, and there wasn't a caution after that. They ran green to the finish. Joey Logano had held the lead for about 30 or so laps. Nobody even made an attempt to get by him until 2 to go, and they finally started to go, oh, maybe we got to pass, and nothing prevailed. So Joey Logano wins the Geico 500, his 3rd win at Talladega. This was the Ford's 6th straight victory, including Penske's 5th of the last 6. I mean, that's ridiculous. So let's get right into race ratings. Kane, you haven't spoken yet. Give us your race rating.
6. There's really not much else to say about it. One of the more lackluster Talladega races that we've probably seen in a while, and fewest lead changes since 1998. Come on, man, where's the entertainment in that? I don't want to go back to the 2-car tandems, believe me. As much as the lead changed a number of times during that, the racing it's overall wasn't great during that era, and today's wasn't any better, so 6 from me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with a 6 as well. There were cars getting loose and they were edgy, but at the same time that made for some pretty boring racing because drivers were too afraid to actually make moves because they thought they were going to spin out. Yes, we had a classic big one and we had a small one earlier on, but that really doesn't make up for the fact that there wasn't much actual racing. And then, like Tyler said, they all played chicken at the finish, and ultimately, nothing happened. It was very anticlimactic. So it was just pretty disappointing overall for a Talladega race, especially. So 6 for me. Tyler.
I can't believe I'm actually going to have a lower rating. I'm the one that was there. I'm giving it a 5. And the stage 1 was the worst stage in the stage era. That was terrible. I mean, literally nothing happened. You don't expect that from a plate track. You would expect it at a mile and a half. Not there. Stage 2 was good and that was after the little small wreck, because then they just were all going for it for the stage win. So, there was enough there at times, like, they did race and there, shit was happening, but it all boiled down to that big wreck happening, and then it was just nothing. Nobody wanted to go for the lead. And I get that you're waiting and you want to make your move, but for these guys, these adrenaline-filled race car drivers, to not be smart enough to realize, and especially from everything that they've seen in past races, you can't wait. And if they learned anything from the awful stage 1, that like you just can't go anywhere, you can't make a move, you guys got to time this shit a little bit better. Do you want to just ride second, or do you want to try to go for the damn win? There were a handful of guys that tried. Chase Elliott tried a time or two, but then realized once he lost the spot, he's like, oh, I just got to duck back in the line here and wait for somebody else in front of me to make a move to go with it, but that never happened. Eric Almirola made some efforts, but just they could never get that outside line going. It just wasn't that great. I mean, the finish was so poor. It's a right down the middle race. I mean, I feel like 5 is a little generous, honestly. It just was a bad race. One of the worst that I've seen maybe ever. Definitely not worse than like 2014 when Denny Hamlin won. Like that race was fucking atrocious. I don't even want to talk about that race. But it just deserves better. Hopefully they go back to the drawing board for the play package. Because this shit can't happen again.
No, it cannot. Well said.
Thank you.
All right, we have a couple topics this week. The first one is, guess what? Matt Kenseth is back. He somehow got a ride with Roush Racing again, where he once belonged, and he's going to replace Trevor Bayne in select races to finish out the year. His first race back is going to be at Kansas in a couple weeks in the Wyndham Rewards Ford. It's not a terrible paint scheme, but I guess the question everyone is asking is why? Tyler, what's your input on all this?
Yeah, throw it to me. This news came out of nowhere. I mean, this was one of those classic sayings like, that came out of left field. You're damn right it did, because what's the point here? The first thought that goes through my head is, didn't he go out on a good enough note? I know that it might not have been like the way he wanted, because it came up very quickly. Like all of a sudden he was just going to be forced out of there when Eric Jones has got to come in and there's nowhere for him to go. And then there was nowhere else for him to go to get a good ride. But he still ended on a positive note. He won his next to last race, finished in the top 10 in his last one. That's a good enough way. Fuck, I would have killed for that to happen with Dale Jr. Unfortunately, his team wasn't competitive enough like we had with Gibbs. But let's talk about competitiveness. The 6 team, it's not. I don't care if Trevor Bayne's in that car. And Trevor Bayne is the equivalent to a fire in a dumpster. But that doesn't mean the car's good, because it isn't. And what, is he going to come back and run in the top 15? Top 20 on some days? Does he want to do that? Why? Why would he want to do that? That's just my whole thoughts on that. Like, that's great. I would love to see this be beneficial to Roush and perhaps make the program turn around for those guys. But I can't just see that happening with the facts that we have presented right now. That team isn't going to contend for, sure as hell not going to contend for wins, and barely going to contend for top 10s. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only reason that I see him coming back is just to tell the team what's wrong with their cars. Like, he's not going to win. This is not a competitive ride like he said he wanted. So I can only see it as, like, a helping kind of role. Like, almost if Mark Martin came back just for the heck of it, just to help around. I mean, I hope he does well. It's nice to see him come back, but it's kind of awkward, kind of like when Jeff Gordon came back to sub for Dale Jr. when he had his concussion. Thankfully, Trevor Bayne doesn't have a concussion. Sometimes it seems like he does, but I mean, still it's a weird circumstance. Kane, anything to add?
Again, like you guys said, I don't expect him to be competing for top 10s ever. I mean, maybe if he's lucky, he'll get a top 15, but I'm not going to get my hopes up that he's going to be successful right out of the gate. Even if it is a track that he's very good at, like Kansas is definitely one of his better tracks, but I don't expect him to be, competing for wins there. So,
one more thing to add real quick too is, like, could this lead to another good full-time ride? Like, is this just keeping his name out there so people remember he exists, or does he want to basically retire with Roush where it all began?
It is a good point, and I was just gonna say another thing to add on to what Kane said. Is like, it's gonna take the equalizer tracks for them to really try to shine. On the mile and a half, their program is shit. So his first race back, a race like that, he isn't gonna really do that well. And I don't know. Back to your talking point there, Nick. It's an interesting one. Like, what's the angle here? Like, what exactly does he want to do? It's not really the equivalent of like an NFL player signing a one-day contract to finish out his career with his team. That's not what's happening here. Like, he's running, what is it? Hell, like 17 races or something like that? I don't know where that number came from. I feel like I heard it somewhere. But he's running a nice chunk of races. So, I don't know. What's that?
That brings us back to the question, why?
Exactly. Why?
Good points. I think we're done.
Absolutely. We are done with that topic.
And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Tyler was at Talladega Sunday, and he's going to tell us all about his little trip and how it went, positives and negatives. So, Tyler, take it away.
Absolutely. Talladega, my first ever time there, first plate track, so it was a new experience no matter what happened. And it was just pretty much ultimately a standard trip. Nothing really bad happened as far as the travel went. Our trip down there was insane. It initially was supposed to be around 6 hours, but we left at 4 in the morning, and I didn't actually realize that the time transferred over. I didn't know that Alabama was in Central Time, so we ended up picking up, like, it shifted over an hour. And we had technically an additional hour to work with. Like, we didn't just had no idea that was going to happen. But we blazed down there. You want to know what our average speed was in my little Chevy Cruze with the dent on the right side from Austin Cindric? We averaged 91 miles an hour.
Oh, my God.
We were fucking flying. That is what the dash said. So we did stop, I think, twice, so it might have reset itself. But for at least a good couple of hours straight, we were averaging 91, fucking hauling. So we made insane time getting down there. Pretty much just got parked, but it was evident right away once we got in Alabama, the hillbilly fuckers were out to play. The first thing we see as we're traveling down the boulevard to try to get parked, some guy on a bicycle with like long horns. He replaced the handlebars with long horns.
Wow.
That was his steering device. I mean, like these big ass longhorn horns. I had the window rolled down on my side, and I had to wait for him to go by to burst the fuck out laughing. I just thought that was hilarious. But
Oh, man.
it was like a new breed of people. I mean, I live in the South, but that was the South. Holy shit. Lots of rednecks. The International Motorsports Hall of Fame is right there, basically on the Talladega campus, if you will. That was unfortunate. We walked in there, walked right back out. Those motherfuckers wanted $15 to go in there. I'm like, no, I'll use that $15 across the street to buy merchandise, damn it. And that's what I did. I figured it would have been like free on Sunday. That pissed me off, not gonna lie. But, did my normal shopping, ran around to tents, got me 6 die-casts all from one place, couple little knick-knack things, and went to the track, watched the race. We sat down right as they were getting ready to do the anthem. Just basically nailed the timing of everything. Obviously, we don't have to talk about anything about the race. We already did that. But it was just disappointing to have the race play out the way it was. I mean, it was a nice experience being there. I said it in my Instagram post. It's always nice being at the track despite things not playing out the way you want it to. You know, I'm not disappointed that I went. It's just, damn it, it could have been better. It should have been better, but it wasn't. Like, that doesn't dumb down my feeling for Talladega. It's just something that happened. The race just didn't play out like it could have, and that's ultimately what it was. Took forever to get home, though, man. Holy hell. And get out of that parking lot, it was bad. Like, we made it down there in about 5 hours. It took like 7 to get back. We get down there, we think we're making killer time. Well, we lose it on the way back, and it ultimately just works its way out to even. I can never just get that extra oomph because it always gets fucked in some other area. That's it. That's just my rant.
Plus,
that was a rant about life right there for a second.
Plus, interesting to point out, this is the first Talladega race since Dale Jr. retired, and I bet it just did not have the same, feeling like if Jr. were in the field, because usually when he takes the lead there's a frickin' earthquake that happens, and unfortunately this year you didn't get that. And it's never going to happen ever again.
That's a really good point to bring up, and that is something that disappoints me as well. Like, I wish I could have been there during the time of his racing, because, he always found the way to the front, no matter what, even on the worst of days where the car wasn't handling as well. What I will say, that I forgot to mention this, so thank you for saying that, the crowd was incredible. I can't believe it. It really looked packed. There was a handful of open seats in the section, but they were way more few and far between. That, by far, was the biggest crowd and the most consistent fillage of seats of any race that I've ever been to. I've been to plenty to have an opinion on something like that. So it was really good, actually, despite Redneck Jesus not being in the field. And there was still plenty of people wearing the T-shirts, and I saw plenty of guys where, they had written on the back of their trucks or their cars or whatever, like, Dale, yeah, and then there'd be an 88 or a 3 and people wearing their shit. Oh, one last thing. A couple rows down to the left from where we're sitting. We had a great seat, by the way. I didn't say that either, but the pictures are there, so you kind of get that already. There was a guy wearing a Jeff Gordon T-shirt, but it was just nothing but his face. Different expressions of Jeff Gordon's face pasted all over this T-shirt. It was the funniest fucking thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It was great. Expressions of happiness, laughing, anger. I wish I had a good enough angle to take a picture of this guy, but it would have been kind of awkward too, taking a picture of a guy. But that was great.
We need to get one of those with Junior though. I mean,
yeah. That would be a good one. He's got plenty of expressions. But Talladega trip was solid. Just one of those things. It wasn't a worst race I've ever seen or been to. Not the best. Just kind of fits its way somewhere in the middle. But it's a good place. If you're not that far away and you get a free ticket, god damn it. See, that's the problem. I always forget things. It's so much just to say in a confined amount of time. You don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to underdo it either. My buddy Josh got me a free ticket. He's a little bit of a cabbage patch, but I appreciate it anyways. He got it for free and gave it to me for free. So we had a good time, made the most of it. So yeah, that's it. That is everything. Talladega. Motherfucker
Awesome.
wrote Dagobah on the back of my car. He was wired at fucking 4 a.m. He's like, oh, I just drank a 5-hour energy. 5-hour energy. Give me the whiteout pen you have. I have one of these washable marker, white markers that you can write on the back of your car. And he's like, oh, I gotta write this. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, don't worry, I'll wash it off. I'm like, you better fucking wash it off, you dumb motherfucker.
I'm surprised when you guys arrived he wasn't blasting Eric Church out of your car's speakers.
What do you think happened? He did play that fucking song on the way down there.
Did he really?
Yes!
Oh my god. Talladega.
Yeah, played
Gonna
that.
raise it. Yeah.
Played that. Of course, we played fucking Sweet Home Alabama and Life as a Goddamn Highway, because we were on the highway for 400 damn miles, so
goddamn crazy piece of crap. crazy son of a bitch.
You crazy little fucker. All right, now it's time to hand out some awards for the Talladega race weekend, and leading it off with the classic, one of our favorites. It's the boner of the week. We have two of them, both from the Xfinity series, and the first one goes to John Hunter Nemechek, who spun the hell out coming to pit road under green, nearly wiped out Elliott Sadler. That'll be mentioned in a future award. But it was just the weirdest little thing. Like, it looked like he was fine, and then, like, just all of a sudden hit a patch of grass in NASCAR Heat 2 and spun out. Nice going, John Hunter. I mean, you kind of recovered and still finished in the top 10, but still, it was a little embarrassing. Feel bad for you. Or maybe not. Don't do it again. Next boner.
Next boner goes to Shane Lee. He did a good job at Bristol, but this time he caused the biggest crash of the Xfinity race by getting into Dylan Lupton pretty early in the race coming off of turn 2. Lupton couldn't hold on to it because he sucks. And, it wasn't all his fault. I feel more bad for him in this one. But he spun out in front of the field, collected a bunch of cars. The 76 car launched off of one of them because he had some ARCA brakes. And it was just a big old mess. So good job, you fruitcake from the vineyards!
Vineyard!
Next award.
All right, our next award is Weekend from Hell! And it goes to McWeapon! Yeah, Jamie McMurray blew out a tire on Friday during practice, was hit in the driver's side by Ryan Newman, who forced his car to barrel roll 6 times down the backstretch before coming to rest on its wheels. And then on Sunday, just like always at the plate tracks, McMurray was caught up in the first big crash of the day when Eric Jones came up and squeezed him into Trevor Baynes, setting off a 5-car wreck that also took out Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. Oh, Jamie, when will you ever finish a plate race in one piece? The world may never know. Next award.
The next award is another classic. It's the
Straight Jacket Award!
And that goes to NASCAR again. And just like I mentioned from the boner, Elliott Sadler, he sped up to avoid a spinning John Hunter Nemechek just a wee bit. Because, hey, in his mind, if I don't speed up a little bit, I'm probably going to get whacked by John Hunter. And he avoided it, did what he needed to do. But NASCAR's is like, oh, yeah, you were speeding. You were speeding. Come in for your penalty. What? Are you freaking serious? Like, why isn't there some sort of loophole when you're avoiding a wreck? That's wreck avoidance, okay? They have penalties for that in other series and other forms of motorsports. Could you avoid contact there? Elliott avoided the contact. He avoided damage from his car and John Hunter's. Like, come on, NASCAR. You must be freaking crazy. God, I still remember that from 2014 when you penalized Casey Kane they Daytona 500. I got really emotional there. That was a lot to say. But god damn it. I still remember that, and I wasn't happy then. This was just as bad. Stop it. Figure out something else. He didn't even speed up that much. Damn it. Damn NASCAR officials. Next award.
Ooh, man. You had some passion there. But yes, it is all...
Thank you.
It is already time for the Cigar Awards, and being Talladega, you can bet your ass we have a bunch of them. The first one goes to Spencer Gallagher. What? He got his...
What?
Thank you. He got his first career Xfinity win and also led his first ever Xfinity lap. Oh my god. What a great story, though, for him and his family-run team. I didn't think it would ever happen, or if it did, it would be at a track like this, but he made it count. He made some good moves on the last lap, held everyone off, and made it happen. And then, hilariously, after the race, he was sitting in the infield for a long time and had a cardboard sign on his table, signing autographs, and it said, "I have the best signature in NASCAR, changed my mind." And Tyler knows damn well that is complete sarcasm right there, because he has gotten a signature from Gallagher. But, I mean, it's funny that he's aware of that. He loves it.
So I respect it more now, but that is seriously awful. Like, for Christ's
Yeah.
sake, you can't just pick a section of the hero card, be like, okay, I'm gonna sign it here. The motherfucker signs the whole thing. I mean, it looks like he's waxing a car.
Yeah, and obviously he had an amazing victory lane interview like we knew he would. The next cigar goes to Brandon Jones. He finished second and got his first ever Xfinity top 5. And like Tyler said the other day, the no-talent ass clowns prevailed. Oh my God! Great job for those guys. Ryan Sieg came home 6th, a great underdog story, as well as Garrett Smithley. He came home 10th. So that's it for the Xfinity cigars.
All right, and our first of our Cup cigars goes to Chase Elliott, who finished third after starting at the rear of the field for an unapproved tire change after qualifying. Although unfortunately being surrounded by a bunch of Fords, as well as not working with his teammate Alex Bowman to make his way to the front, and instead choosing to side draft the hell out of Bowman, resulted in Chase coming up short yet again. Next cigar goes to David Reagan, who finished 6th. Not a big surprise there, considering both the David's Cup wins have come on plate tracks, as well as how strong the Fords have been at Talladega lately. So you get a cigar. And finally, an honorary cigar to the finish of the ARCA race on Friday. Zane Smith beat Joe Graff Jr. by 29 1/1000ths of a second, the closest finish in ARCA history. So congratulations to them.
All right.
Yay!
Yay! Whoa! Yalla! That's another Crash Bandicoot sound. That's it for the awards. Let's move on. Alright, no montage this week for the best paint schemes, but we're going to give a quick little honorary to 2. First one is the 00 Joey Gase to Sparks Energy car for Starcom Racing. It's a nice paint scheme. It works really well. It's the same paint scheme that Joey runs in the Xfinity series, but onto the Cup car with the 00. Looks nice. So, sorry about your luck, guys. I saw you blow up. There wasn't a yellow for you. Then you disappeared. So, but anyways, the next one is Timothy Peters. He made his Cup debut out of nowhere. Running 92 little advanced auto parts car right there. It's not bad, you know, not the best paint scheme. That's why it's an honorary, really. So, nice job. You finished the race, too. I mean, 23rd, nothing to jump up about, but hey, came home in one piece. Nice job, Timothy. And of course, the worst paint schemes of the week. We had a lot. This was not a great weekend. It really wasn't. So, Kane, lead us off, and let's just get through these really awful paint schemes.
All right. Well, the first awful paint scheme this week. It's not really new. It's Ryan Blaney's Menards car, but the numbers are white instead of red. I just don't understand why they would change that. It adds nothing to the paint scheme. Nothing.
But like that car has had some weird evolution this year. Like it had the red number and the white Menards. Okay, fine, I can deal with that. And then they do, like for Menards, they change it to red and have the red number, and now they have the white number and the white Menards. Like, make up your freaking mind. It all sucks anyway.
So moving on to the first actual awful paint scheme of the weekend, that would be his teammate Brad Keselowski's Snap-on Ford. Now, this is the exact same Snap-on car that you saw Ryan Blaney run on the number 12 Team Penske Xfinity car at Charlotte last year. Good grief. I mean, you seriously thought it would look good on a Cup car, too? It's bad enough on an Xfinity car, but to do this, too? I have seen some badass Snap-on schemes in the past on Kevin Harvick's, like, all-star paint scheme from 2004 and whatnot. Man, what the hell happened to you, Snap-on? Jeez. Anyways, moving on to the next bad paint scheme.
Yes, Kane, the next worst paint scheme goes to the number 3, so we're going from 2 to 3. It's Austin Dillon, who has had a weird number of paint schemes this year, just like awful ones out of nowhere. Some good, some bad, but this one tops them all. Frickin' Scooper Cat, get your pussy scoops. Oh my, what the hell is this contraption? Like, you got like some sort of like bang reaction, like, on the side, like, you know, you'd see in a cartoon or something. It's like, you know, like Tom and Jerry, like frickin' Jerry whacks Tom with a bat and it's like this little bang animation. Like, that was just slapped on the side behind the contingencies. And then the paint scheme itself is just like a weird blue, and then there's some stars there, and then like a weird little dot fade in the quarter panel that's yellow and just ugly and just, it's just bad. And this car seems like a JTG Doherty car too, with the sponsors slapped on the side. I mean, you got AAA, you got Next Tier, you got American Ethanol, Bass Pro Shops, Dow, and then whatever the hell Prevents is. I'm assuming it has something to do with Scooper Cats, because the Scooper Cats logo is under that. Like, what the hell is this paint scheme? And, you know, I'm glad you got wrecked, because that's where this car belong. And take a look at this beautiful picture. You're going up in the grass. Get your Scooper grass. Next paint scheme.
All right, well, it's logical that we go from 3 to 4. This one is Kevin Harvick's Busch flannel Ford. It's not even really any promotion, I don't think. It's just, it goes with the commercials with the guy in the flannel who was actually on top of their pit box. But, like, it doesn't even really give off a flannel outdoorsy kind of vibe. Like, I want to see mountains and stuff. Like, this looks like a badly wrapped Christmas present. I don't know what they're really trying to go for, and I guess if you look closer, it has like some denim texture too. It's just kind of ridiculous, and it does not look good. I have nothing nice to say about it.
Yeah, is the car sponsored by Al Borland?
I don't think so, Alex.
That car needs a hell of a lot of home improvement, that's for sure.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good references.
Yeah. Let's get the hell off. Let's get these off the screen. Okay, now it's time to recap the fantasy results from Talladega, and I come home banging with the win after picking Chase Elliott, who finished third and got me 34 points. Nick comes home just a little bit short after picking Eric Almirola, who finished 7th and got him 30 points. Kane comes home in 3rd, picking Denny Hamlin, who finished 14th and got 28 points. And Damani rounds out the rear after picking Brad Keselowski, who was involved in a big wreck, finished 33rd and only got 14 points. So Damani will go for... Oh, he didn't say his pick, so you're dropped to the rear for an unapproved adjustment. Kane, you go first for Dover. Who you taking?
He won there last fall. He's been the highest driver on the circuit. I'm going with Kyle Rowdy Big Dick Busch. I don't need to say any more.
Doing this on the fly this time, I mean, I got a couple drivers in mind. I think I'm going to go with the hometown boy and go with Martin Truex Jr.
Motherfucking mother!
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I think he's going to win.
You picked that Martin Truex Jr. now.
Tyler, who are you picking?
Wow. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
He's been up and down. I've already picked him once. That didn't work out that time. But this time it just seems a little different. Dover is kind of a weird track. He's come up short a couple times there. Just seems like it could suit well for him. Or maybe not. Hell, maybe he'll run like 17th. And then I'll regret it again. Whatever. Go get him, Kyle. Or don't. Do whatever you want to do. Hey, Damani, who are you taking? Finally.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no.
Alright, well that wraps up yet again another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. Hope you enjoyed listening. More than you did by watching the Talladega race. Yeah, I said it. I said it again. God damn it, Dega. So, for Damani HD, get your picks in on time next time, please. For Kane Jr. 88, thanks for the additional audio editing you're making me do this week. For Thermite 917, thanks for making me do the video editing this week. And
You're
for
welcome.
myself, fuck you, Nick. For myself, Provo 43, Talladega. Okay, be better next time. So, this has been Behind the Wall. You've been Behind the Wall. Grab back Perk Jerky, and we'll see you next time. Well, yeah.
I guess one last... Sorry.
Well,
I guess one
specifically... You did it 2 times in a row. Just go. Just go.
So that's it for this for the Xfinity Award.
I heard it.
You should do voice acting.
I mean, there's the potential. I could do a lot of random shit. anybody that watches this doesn't deserve this view. Let's go!
Follow me to fantasy.
Let's take a jolly old stroll down the yellow brick road. Everybody along the yellow brick road, all along the fantasy land. I don't know why the fuck I did that, but we're just gonna go ahead and go with it anyways.
This is why we shouldn't do podcasts at 2 a.m. your time.
It's more raw.
Yeah.
I like that. I like raw podcasts, and I also like doing it raw. Ask your wife.
I mean, I'll ask her after I'm done with yours.
Ho ho! Oh, you went there.
What are you, French?
Why don't I just have Dutch boy from last week?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
is
2 weeks ago.
my name Michel Dessier or Jean Girard or Simon Pagino?
I saw the Highlander movie. It was shit.
Michel Diaz, build my macchiato.
Not just my macchiato.
Hey, Frenchie, it's me, America.
Thank you.
Yeah, break it, Pepe Le Pew.
His horses are also gay.
But this is no ordinary stay-at-home spouse, as he is a world-class trainer of German Shepherds. Or is a trainer of world-class German Shepherds. Whatever.
Yes. Who knows how long it'll take before John's foray into NASCAR ends up in Victory Lane.
Yeah.
And then
the looks
Yeah.
on their faces like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yes, Kane, the next worst paint scheme goes to the number 3, so we're going from 2 to 3. Austin Dillon, who has had an awful lot of... Was that like a fucking chair creak or something? I swear.
I thought so too, like he's in a rocking chair or something.
Yeah. I just fucking heard it again, I think.
Shit. I'm sorry.
Jesus! Hold your ass cheeks still! Sit still! Lay!
Lay.
God, that's a shitload of piss.
Sit still. Lay. All right, I'm up.
Kyle, Rowdy, Big Dick Bush!
You say big
Sorry,
dick?
Mike?
Big
Yes.
dick. He doesn't have a big dick.
He
Yeah, I don't
doesn't.
know
He
what-
thinks he does. He thinks he does, though, so...
Micro penis! Who the fuck would he take?
Just give him Harvick.
Or Ginny.
He probably would pick Jimmy, knowing him. That's why he's last in points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's last in points. Anybody got anything? You can throw it out there. Maybe you'll be a fantasy king.
Jimmy the Juggernaut Johnson!
I was gonna say that.
Jimmy Long John Silver Johnson. I have no idea.
I might have to use it just because. Holy shit. Get your Long John Jimmy at Silver's.
Get your Long John Jimmy Silver. Jimmy.
That's so awkward. Oh, I love it.
For pros.
For pros. Holy Christ. That's even worse. And we'll see you next time.
Or else.
Or maybe not. Maybe we'll just cancel the show today. Network ratings were bad.
Yep.
Well, if that was the case, we were canceled after episode 1.
We don't have bad ratings, we have no ratings.
We have no ratings. So if you don't have no ratings, that means at least they're not bad.